A new report from the Canadian government accuses India of killing Canadian Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. India, of course, has denied these allegations and says Canada has created an environment for illegal migration and organized criminal activities. Joining me to discuss this new report that's out from Canada are Ambassador KP Fabian, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, and in the studio I have with me my colleague Aditya Rajkol. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus Show. Abhijit, you've read the report. What's your take on this? Is this everything that Trudeau promised it would be? The smoking gun?
I can tell you I have wasted a few hours of my life reading 123 pages of speculative dribble without one single concrete piece of evidence, not against China, not against India, not against anybody. If anything, if you remember the same October 2024 presser, which this lady claims the RCMP gave, they very clearly stated they are removing the Nijjar case from the foreign interference dossier.
Right.
Yet, she spends a disproportionate amount of the report specifically reincorporating it into the foreign intelligence dossier.
Yes.
And every single place she says may. There is no is out here.
Yes.
Except at one point where, let me just read out the specific part out here. Indian activities primarily target the approximately 800,000 members of the Sikh diaspora in Canada and aim to promote a pro-India narrative. Goes on, with connections to agents of the government of India is consistent with the classified evidence.
Right.
Yet at no point of time does she say it indicates.
Right.
She simply says it may indicate the involvement of the government of India, and at several different places she goes on saying it is non-conclusive.
Right. Non-conclusive indeed. Yes.
Skips the sort of logical gymnastics required, the mental gymnastics required to go from no conclusive evidence and may to definitive statements like the one I read out. This lady has sat for 18 months on this report, and she is not able to give you anything even remotely conclusive. How does this make a whole load of sense? They insisted, the Liberal Party went on insisting that they would not declassify the report. And yet when this report comes out, this lady has seen all the so-called classified intel. It seems absolutely no different from credible allegations. In fact, she keeps quoting credible allegations throughout. There is no mention in the entire report of credible proof.
Right.
Which
absolutely.
The question, where is the meat? You had the report and then you wanted to do a report on the report.
Right. So it's
and what is classified? What is classifiable out here?
Absolutely. Aditya, it's January and we are talking of, as Abhijit said, May. And this May all through the report. You've read the report as well, and this credible allegations has made a comeback. Why is the Canadian government continuing down this path of putting out these credible allegations now? From statements, they've come into a report that's meant to talk about foreign interference in the Canadian elections is now turned into a credible allegations of India's involvement in Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing.
You know, Sandeep, the credible allegation stance that the Justin Trudeau government took from the very day that Justin Trudeau blamed India inside the House of Commons in Canada was always laughable. You know, there was not a shred of evidence, just as my friend Abhijit pointed out. Never ever in the public domain, in private conversations, in any kind of bilateral meetings, or even meetings between intelligence agencies, etc., was any kind of a dossier, any kind of an evidence, nothing shared at all. To the contrary, we have shared dossiers for which, you know, Canadian government has no stance. They don't want to speak about it. They don't want to respond why this was really done. And while you have been raising and questioning about the instance of Nijjar killing, let me remind to the viewer that there was another person who was killed during that entire time in Surrey. This person was Ripudaman Singh Malik, one of the suspects of the Air India bombing. Ripudaman Singh Malik, interestingly, was this person who few years ago wrote a letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi praising the BJP Modi government for the things that they have done for the Sikh community, and he wanted to come to India and perhaps settle here or meet family or have connections with India.
Yes.
Now the question is, there were 2 people who were arrested
Right.
in the killing of Ripudaman Singh Malik.
Yes.
But till date, yesterday was the day when the final verdict came in that.
Yes.
And the killer of Ripudaman Singh Malik has got life sentence in
Yes.
Canada.
And
There were-
coincidentally, it's just today when the report was released.
Exactly. There were 2 gangsters who were
Yes.
involved, perhaps Canadian, but till now in their interrogation, they haven't revealed
Yes.
who were their masters.
Right.
While
Who
there
paid
are
them
many
for this contract.
exactly.
Yes.
While there are many people across Canada who have said that this is gangland violence.
Yes.
There were Khalistani elements who were opposed to Ripudaman Singh Malik,
Yes.
perhaps Nijjar,
Right.
who wanted to eliminate
Yes.
Ripudaman Singh Malik. But why hasn't the Canadian government come out
Yes.
and said openly who killed Ripudaman Singh Malik?
Who killed
There was
him?
no chatter. RCMP
Right.
did no press conference.
Right.
Nothing at all
Yes.
for why justice was denied to Ripudaman Singh Malik. And finally, this chatter, this was a political stance taken by Justin Trudeau,
Yes.
so that he could accumulate in some 12 or 13 areas the Sikh voters. But this has backfired.
Right.
This is completely backfired to
Vote
the level
bank
that he had to
politics.
resign.
Yes.
I mean, he had to leave.
Vote bank politics. But he's still in charge. He's left, but he's still in charge.
He's still in charge till
How
24th
bizarre.
of March.
Yes.
But the Liberal Party, is coming out with names. They have other names, and they certainly do not want him
Right.
to be the leader anymore.
Right, absolutely. And in fact, Aditya, while you were speaking, I was just looking at one excerpt of the report which says that there were immediate rumors that Mr. Nijjar's death was somehow linked to the government of India, but that was not the initial read of Canada's intelligence and security agencies. The initial assessment was the killing was gang or criminal related, and the Prime Minister was informed of it. And then miraculously, it goes on to say that when South Asian members of Parliament and other members of the South Asian community were insistent the killing was connected to India, suddenly the connections start appearing.
Yes.
So this is bizarre, this kind of an investigation. And I think that's the reason why you have so many nays in the report.
Another thing to point out is that one would have expected that
Yes.
if this is a foreign interference committee,
Yes.
it will be a neutral committee.
Yes.
This was a committee set up by Justin Trudeau.
Yes.
He already knew what the report would be.
Right.
He perhaps was guiding and asking what has to be written inside it.
Yes.
I mean, there was a very systematic way. There's an RCMP press conference, then there is an open hearing that takes place.
Yes.
And moments after Justin Trudeau has to resign under pressure, perhaps due to Trump tariffs
Yes.
or pressure from his own party, now comes this report, which is absolutely bizarre. The Indian government has hit out at it
Yes.
and accused Canada of
Right.
interfering in the internal affairs of India, and perhaps post-August that could change.
Absolutely. In fact, Ambassador Fabian just joins us now. Ambassador Fabian, what do you make of this report and India's response? We've issued a very strong statement rejecting the insinuations and in fact saying that Canada is interfering with India's internal politics. What's your take on this report, and will it make matters worse between India and Canada?
Well, let me put it this way. Matters between India and Canada are already at a low point.
Right.
And Justin Trudeau on his way out. So I don't think we should expect any improvement so long as he is still there. And we might see some change after the election, which Justin Trudeau is very likely to lose. But I want to make one point. If the Conservative Party doesn't get a proper majority, and if it needs support from the NDP, New Democratic Party, that is the Sikhs, they are there, well, in that case, we might come across the same problem again, because the Canadian Sikhs in Canada are well organized politically, and they are a political force to
Absolutely.
to reckon with.
And Ambassador Fabian, you've put that really well. The fact that the Sikh voters are so well organized, especially the extremists in Canada. And this is something, Abhijit, that you've raised, you've flagged consistently in the past, that don't think that the next government that comes to Canada is going to be any different from Trudeau. Tell us how it's going to play out in the next couple of months. Given Pierre Poilievre appears to be the favorite to replace Justin Trudeau, but even he might have to pander to these extremists.
It's actually worse than pander, Sandeep. The problem here is, you see, this entire politics was started by Justin Trudeau's father, Pierre. And in many ways, Justin has understood how to control the Khalistanis almost. You look at the primaries in Brampton and Surrey, where, Hardeep Sajjan and people like that literally had moderate Sikh candidates roughed up, kicked out, and the RCMP were waiting outside. They wouldn't interfere in those primaries, claiming that, this is cultural relativism, this is what the community does, etc., etc.
Right.
This is for one. Number two, because they understand the way criminality works and the financial controls very well. In fact, it is Hardeep Sajjan and people like that who are indebted to Justin Trudeau and not the other way around. Had Justin Trudeau interfered in the primary process, there's no way Hardeep Sajjan and people like that could have possibly won, I suspect. So it's more that Khalistanis depend on Justin Trudeau. The
Right.
problem with Pierre Poilievre is something totally different. He is highly dependent on a whole bunch of Khalistanis.
Right.
Forcefully. Tim Uppal is probably the least intelligent of the lot. He's never going to be anything other than a multicultural affairs minister. But there are three much more dangerous people. One is a Hindu MP called Arpan Khanna,
Yes.
who pivot on a dime. There is Param Gill, who's probably going to be the next home minister of that country. And finally, the most dangerous of the lot is a chap called Jasraj Hallan, who's almost certainly going to become the next finance minister of Canada. Now,
Right.
Jasraj Hallan is very good at covering up because, a lot of the Khalistan, let's face it, there is no such thing as a Khalistan movement. It's an organized crime gang of drugs, their transport network, and the music network
Yes.
that goes normalizing drugs. But Jasraj knows how to manipulate this. He is closely involved with the illegalities of that particular lobby. He's a beneficiary of the illegalities of that lobby. Tim Uppal and Jasraj Hallan are. Param Gill and Arpan Khanna's proximity to that illegal network is a lot less well understood or explained. Now, they control Pierre Poilievre. So you have to expect that if the government changes, the relation is going to go further down. I don't see it recovering anytime in the near future.
You don't see it recovering anytime in the near future. That's a dark assessment. But Aditya, has Trump's arrival not changed things? The fact that Canada could well be the 51st state, as Trump keeps saying, it started as a joke, but now it seems that he's very serious about it.
Well, Trump is serious. You might always find him amusing or entertaining.
Yes.
That's separate.
Right.
But, he means business and he's a deal maker.
Right.
If he is not liking somebody, he'll make it public. Look at the example of Colombia.
Yes.
Which did not agree to accept the illegal immigrants.
Right.
And he raised the tariffs to 25% and said that
Right.
these tariffs will increase to 50% next week.
Yes.
And Colombia succumbed.
Right.
And has accepted the illegal immigrants now. India, there are reports now doing rounds that there are around close to 18,000 immigrants. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar said that number is still being verified, and
Right.
India is readily accepted. Although
Yes.
18,000 is a very small number,
Right.
and India would be readily able to accept that. That wouldn't really be a huge
Not a
challenge.
problem, yes.
But the problem here is that Canada is, walking in a very troublesome space.
Right.
Trump is waiting to see what's going to happen in the next few weeks and then raise the bar really with Canada is concerned. He has already threatened them.
Right.
And, with the steps that he has taken, Trump has
Right.
taken over the last 7 to 8 days, it's abundantly clear
Yeah.
that he will continue to call Justin Trudeau Governor Trudeau
Right.
and at the same time raise costs for Canada if they do not agree to the demands of Justin Trudeau
Very
administration.
interesting. Abhijit, what do you see what lies in store for Governor Trudeau in the next couple of days, as Aditya was saying? How bad is it going to be really for Canada under Trump?
Look, no matter how bad it is for Canada under Trump, it doesn't solve our problems with the Canadians. We have to get that out of the way.
Yes.
Because Trump is doing what he does for Canada. Now, Canada is going to have to cave in to a lot of things. The problem
Right.
is that once the tariffs are imposed, Canada loses, or Canada agrees to make concessions like Colombia did.
Yes.
There is a significant drop in Canadian revenue, right? And Pierre Poilievre now has only one option, which is to go in for massive drilling. They literally stopped drilling over the last 8 years, drilling for oil,
Yes.
drilling for minerals, drilling for everything. They have to then go back to oil. The problem then is it takes at least 2 to 3 years for the drilling to start again. And for the uptick to start again, by which time Pierre Poilievre may very well become quite unpopular. The second problem with all of that is the short-term loss of revenue, which is not compensated by immediate income from drilling. Will always, remember that Canadian people are doing very, very badly at the moment. There is massive inflation.
Yes.
House prices, rents are insane. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to see a lot more crime. Now, the problem with a lot more crime is the biggest crime organization out there are the Khalistanis. That means more money in their pocket, which actually means they end up getting stronger. So, like I said, I'm not seeing any good outcomes for us vis-a-vis Canada on this.
Right, a vicious cycle there indeed, Abhijit, and thanks for outlining that for us. And Aditya, thank you for joining us on the News9 Plus Show. New report, no foreign interference in Canada's elections, but gangsters are killing terrorists, and we believe the Indian government is doing this. This is what the report seems to suggest. Thank you very much for joining us, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Ambassador KP Fabian. In Canada today, a 24-year-old Canadian, Tanner Fox, was given a 20-year jail sentence for killing Ripu Daman Singh Malik. Now, Fox has ties with criminal gangs in Canada, and he is not a person of Indian origin. But who was Ripu Daman Singh Malik, the alleged businessman who was shot dead in 2022? It turns out that Ripu Daman Singh Malik was prosecuted for having contributed to financing the bombing of Air India Flight 182 in 1985. Now, News9 Plus did a report on the tragic bombing of this Air India aircraft. It's the worst attack on a passenger airliner in history before 9/11. 329 passengers were killed, most of them of Indian origin. Catch our special feature, Bombing Air India 182, available exclusively on the News9 Plus app. And thank you for watching the News9 Plus Show.
Hi Shannon, Air India 182, good morning.
Air India 182, good morning. Squawk to 2005, cleared for London. Air India 182, Shannon. Air India 182, Shannon. Air India 182, Shannon.